Okay, Saturday, 5th of July 2025. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Find the first principles of things and create actionable KPIs from them. So, this is one thing I've been gently stumbling into with research and thinking and understanding a lot of stuff about the world is by being able to enumerate and articulate and codify things, put a name to something. We can then start to extrapolate a KPI from it, being attuned to this thing or understanding it or recognize it or being aligned to it. So, for example, a video a few days ago I did about epistemic shock, lag, and contrast was something I came across while I was thinking and planning and pondering about society and life and reality. And by understanding those concepts, by spending time to think and putting a name to them, I was able and am able to recognize them in the world and being able to use them as a metric when judging and evaluating things. Because fundamentally, what we're also doing is creating new vocabulary, new words at a deeper level, a more primal level. We're creating more words, more vocabulary, so we can point to more things and compress into a single phrase or statement or idea. This in psychology is what's called a schema, where rather than describing this thing, this big, wooden, spacious platform with four legs that we sit or stand by, that we can use to eat on, rather than saying all those words, we are just saying table. A schema, compressing complex ideas into one word. All these words and concepts and ideas and adjectives and nouns into one thing, table. One noun, table. And we could also say, it saves time. That's very nice and handy. But it compresses all these complex ideas into a single concept. And the more of those we can do, the more we can articulate the world and recognize the world and compress it into simple, bite-sized chunks, but phrases we can use to expand on and metrics we can use to measure by. Because a nice first principle to understand is that what gets measured gets managed. Some famous American financier or banker said that. I can picture his face, but I can't remember his name right now. But what gets measured gets managed. What gets measured gets managed. And the more we can quantify, I use that a bit loosely, the more of life in the world and reality we can articulate, point to and quantify, the better grasp we have of it, meaning the fewer delusions we have, meaning the fewer mistakes we will make, meaning we achieve our goals easier and quicker. Very interesting, very down to earth. The more we measure, the better we can manage. Powerful stuff. So a lot of things can be summarized into all kinds of concepts. Because often the maths and ideas and rules can be simplified into something very simple and actionable. What's very important for me, and I like to have a focus on, is practicality and action. Meaning, when I understand something, how can I use it? How can I utilize it? And that itself is an idea that needs to be articulated and shared and quantified and codified. A lot of people say it's common sense. And I like to think that's an Overton window, really. It's like a social Overton window. What's common sense for me, right here, right now, may not be 100 years, nor could it have been about 100 years ago, future or in the past. So it changes. And as the world and societies change, fashion, standards, ideas, values, etc., subjective morality, we have to be at the forefront of that, anthropologically speaking, to understand where society is going, culture, the people, the place, the idea, the zeitgeist, some would say. The better we can compress more complex ideas, inadvertently expanding our vocabulary, the more at the forefront of thought we can be, because we are playing in a completely different league. We understand things in a deeper, even a metaphysical way, to have an edge, have an unfair advantage, but have an edge. Meaning, I've seen this before, I've articulated it, I've seen it before through experience or social encounters or anthropological research or psychological research, I can articulate it, I can quantify it, I can enumerate it, I can measure it. If I can measure it, I can manage it. If I can manage it, I can utilize it, leverage it, be at the cutting edge. And this is even to go one step deeper at a metaphysical level. I've noticed that neurotypical people, non-autistic, let's say, neurotypical people really grow through trial and error and being like nudged and whipped almost, or like crafted into shape, penalized and punished, let's say, and rewarded by society. Very much trial and error, but societal trial and error. And they grow very linear or not much at all. But autistic people, people on the spectrum, let's say, to be very clinical, they are constantly reviewing what they see and analysing and studying and analysing and studying. This is why AI has been such a godsend. I did a video about this, becoming the demon with the AI. With autistic people, we can really study a lot of the world and put names to it and articulate it, create new KPIs essentially, and enumerate more obscure concepts of reality, anthropology, society, psychology, you name it, ontology, epistemology, epistemic shock, epistemic like, epistemic contrast are three examples of that. The more these things we can create by studying and researching and compressing, again, complex things, table. The more of that we can do, the greater the grasp is of reality. Wow. Wow. Again, the greater the grasp, the fewer mistakes we make. That's very powerful. We're strategizing, game theory, and we achieve our goals easier with less friction because we know what not to do. And knowing what to do and knowing what not to do are both vitally important in life. It's clarity, essentially. Powerful stuff. Very, 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 very powerful stuff. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.